Well, thank you very much. I think 12 hours or a little bit more than 12 hours passed since we met most of us in FNB Stadium, but it's time to turn the page on everything that was done yesterday and indeed look forward and face this Nedbank Cup important fixture, important match, important obviously competition that for us is clear an objective. Yesterday in the locker room after the match, obviously that there was already an attempt to turn over in terms of focus. A lot of emotions that we need to clear, to clean, and obviously gather the proper energy in order to face a very difficult, complex game preparation and match, for sure. Galaxy is a team that has a good technical staff, which I respect, and I have consideration, even personal, and they will make for sure the best they can in order to manage the moment, the context and the game, trying to difficult as much as possible our task. We need to be strong, we need to be resilient, we need to be clever, we need to understand how to approach that game. Let's see what kind of pitch we're gonna find, because obviously the inspection on that pitch was done in the beginning of the season, but now let's hope the pitch is in good conditions. Because I believe that both teams are teams that know how to play the game, know how to make a positive approach on the game, and what everybody wants in the benefit of the competition is that there's a beautiful football game to be played. And basically that's how I see the approach from ourselves.
Thank you so much, Coach. We'll take questions from the floor. I'm sure there won't be too many questions as you guys were with the coach last night. I'm going to take the first one. And it's Mazola. Benjamin will be next.
Coach, Mazola from SABC Sport. Does this fixture, the quick turnaround, does it almost force your hand to, sort of rotate and manage the load of the players? Because I think even last night you alluded that it was too quick in succession. I don't know if it would have been better to be a Sunday, but then you also have the league fixture midweek as well. I don't know how that would work, but does it force your hand to, maybe there's some players that impressed you last night, but players were cramping and you have to make do with other changes?
Well, I think we had a very nice pre-press conference talk regarding some of the questions that obviously are around the game, football in South Africa, and myself, I'm still understanding a lot of things. I think in the future it will be very benefit for everybody that the agents of the game that can gather and discuss some of the things. I'm speaking about coaches, sit together and discuss some things, also receive some information. So open a common ground of discussion where for sure South Africa will profit from it. Even the captains of the teams, I think they should be listened in regarding some of the things that are happening. I think that this question of the congestion of the fixtures is not only a question in South Africa. Today in the morning I had a few, I didn't really want to put my head immediately on Galaxy match, despite I had a few things to organize, but I took some time to understand what is the international panorama on this situation. And I think it's clear for all of you that it has been quite a discussion. FIFA recommended that football matches should be played in no less than 72 hours. Some federations are playing and are obliging themselves to put the games on the fourth day. It means 96 hours. Obviously that we have a lot of matches, and we also increase the Champions League compared to other teams this season in South Africa. So we cannot really complain, because when we are in the competitions, it's good sign. It's sign that we are discussing them and we are fighting for them, and let's hope we can take this one also to the limit and Champions League as far as possible. So it means that the calendar up to the end will be absolutely fantastic. It's challenging, but it's tricky, and we need to be very wise and clever to understand how to relate with it. You saw from Ancelotti in Real Madrid saying that they would not play any match in less than 72 hours. What was the position towards La Liga from Real Madrid? I think we're going to play in 67 hours or something like that, 67 and a half. And obviously, for me as a coach, I'm a manager of moments also. So I need to understand what conditions we have, who is in condition, going in the direction of your question, and who are the best players to enter this match and to approach it. So it's challenging. It's absolutely developing on myself and my staff in terms of coaching capacities and abilities. But we still need to win. It's the demand from our club, from our fans. No one is worried about whatever besides the result. I just want you also to understand, because yesterday I had the chance to hear. I always like to listen to my press conferences because I don't like to make mistakes, and I like to correct myself when I do them. If I need sometimes, if I say something that I should not, I also am man enough to speak with people. But I went in YouTube and I found then a couple of things that happened. And I saw one program discussing the cramps on the pitch. And that is the level of intelligence that we need to have, everybody that is in the game. From TV commentators, from general press, from yourselves, from ourselves. Look, cramps doesn't mean that the players are not well prepared. Cramps come from a neurological fatigue, can come from dehydration, can come from lack of mostly carbohydrate. So it means that when you play matches in small periods of time between themselves, and especially when they are high demanding, mostly on high intensity actions, like the one we played with MC Alger, because it's interesting, the match with MC Alger was not a match with a lot of distance run per player. We have an analysis since we arrived in the club, and it's in the average, but in high intensity actions was one of the most demanding ones. It means that when the match finished, the players were completely depletionated. So their resources of energy were very low. And after 4 days, we played a match with Orlando Pirates. That is a team that puts a lot of intensity in the match. That's why our challenge during the week was to tell our boys to have the ball, to play the game as much as possible with the ball. But those first 20 minutes were very aggressive, and the last 20 minutes were very aggressive. So it's normal that the players, not because they are not prepared or there's no pre-season, has nothing to do with that. No way. And it's not beautiful to see the players being mocked publicly because of they have cramps. It's just normal on a process like that. Look, if I put these boys that played yesterday to play 90 minutes on the Nedbank Cup match on the weekend, I believe 3 or 4 of them will have muscular injuries. They can play, but not for sure 90 minutes. And that then I will be conditioning not only our capacities in the future matches, but also South Africa as a national team, because I'll be conditioning the preparation for the World Cup from most of the players that are playing so well now. So we all need to understand what is behind the phenomenon of the game and understand it in the right way, and speak normal about physiology, training capacities, all these things that are absolutely normal. Today I spoke with the morning on the way here with our doctors. They saw all the boys. Thank God there was no injury from the match. So as soon as a player after the match has a normal hydration and starts to make the repletion of the energy sources in the body, they go to a normal state. But I believe that if in 67 hours They don't have energy for 90 minutes. They may have for 45, for 60, for 55, depending also on the type of game we're going to play next and the type of pitch we have and the heat conditions and the intensity of the game itself. And it's up to us to manage that. Yes. We need to be very wise on the management of the boys. I don't want to lose players. If we lose players nowadays, it's so tricky in a season that we are going on decisive moments. And knowing the boys have so many expectations regarding the World Cup also. So there's a lot of things on stake. We need to be very clever on managing all this. But at the same time, we need to win because no one will forgive nothing. So it's a job that is difficult to be done, but it's obviously very, very challenging. I just want people to understand clearly where we step as coaches to make a fair analysis of things, because that's the only thing. The rest. So going towards your question, it's really some assessment that we're gonna do. I don't know, but today we gave rest to the players. We didn't gather even to train. So we just called the players that had eventually some medical analysis to be done, so the players that are with small injuries, those who went in Clorcop. And that's it. And we're gonna prepare the match. So tomorrow morning we are already going to the hotel. We need to travel in the match day because there's no hotel around the place of the venue. We need to make a 2-hour bus drive to play that match. But we need to be strong. We need to be very strong. Obviously, that is challenging, but it's. Let's hope we can just create the right mindset to do it.
All right, we'll take the next question. If there are any hand. Oh yes. Benjamin is number 2. I've noted Lorenz as well.
Benjamin Lorenza. Yeah, Coach.
Just 1 minute.
Bravo.
Coach, more or less the same question, but with a bit of a twist. Like you said yesterday, you play on a Wednesday, you play a league game. You play on a Saturday, it's a cup game, and you play on a Tuesday, it's game. You wake around your mindset to say which game do you really. I know you want to win all the tournaments and all the cups, but how do you wake around that tight schedule to say let's concentrate on this and let's do this?
Bravo. Obviously, look, I made a note on the matches we have ahead, and just for us to even clarify or understand better your question, because it's absolutely the right question. We play on the 14th, we played MC Alger, on the 18th Pirates, 21 Galaxy, 24 Amazulu, on the 1st Sekukune, on the 4th Arrows, on the 7th Nedbank Cup, let's hope, on the 10th Orbit, on the 13th Champions League, on the 17th Marumo, on the 22th Champions League. So from the 14th of February up to the 22nd of March, we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 matches. You can only do it thinking one at a time. One at a time. Obviously that not all the competitions, with all the respect, by Nedbank Cup and by the PSL Championship are not in the same level. Champions League is obvious Champions League. PSL Championship is obviously the PSL Championship, and then we have Nedbank Cup. But we arrive in this moment and we'll have to manage players because of the matches we played before. So we're not going to manage now because it's the cup. It's because it's the moment, and we need to see what we have on the table and say, this guy, okay, he played yesterday and then maybe he can play this match. That one, he played 2 times. We feel that there's a risk. Maybe it's better not start at least. This one, for sure, he needs rest. So we need to make an individual management of the players, and we really have to do it. I remember last weekend, Nuno was suspended in the middle of the week for the match on the weekend for the match with MC Alger, and we gave him 2 days off. We said, go rest. Probably if there's a player that is loaded and doesn't go on the list for this match against Galaxy, probably I also provide rest. it's an individual management that we have to do. Obviously that we have a certain focus, but there's no match more important than others. Look, yesterday we had an important victory, but it will only make sense the points we gathered and we took from Pirates if we win next match with Amazulu and then Sekukuni. Otherwise, what's the sense? You make a fantastic victory and you don't collect and put pressure on them by keep on winning. So we just have to look for the moment, dress to the moment, evaluate very well the moment, and play to win every match. Of course, that trust, I speak a lot about trust, is something the coach must have. And the players need to show they are up to the level of the team they are part of when we give them chances. Being youngsters, olders, the same, whatever. That's what we have to also believe.
Lorenz?
Coach Lorenzo from Crispy Times. Sundowns in particular get scrutinized a lot for their signings and reported transfer fees and from rivals and even from their own supporters. But when they do get the signings like Brian Leòn, can you just take us through the process of what was discussed with, let's say, the sporting director or the management to say, this is the type of profile we need? Or was it just, we need to get in extra striker or extra forward just to help us with the workload? Or was there specific qualities and specific characteristics that you were looking from a player and they went to, to the data and found Leòn?
Look, a team like this season, Sundowns, last season also Pirates was in a similar situation. Stellenbosch also went very far away on the Conference Cup. So when you play international competitions and when you try to be in the last stages of the local competitions, it's obvious that we need to have a robust squad. Despite there was an effort, and I think that message in the beginning of the season was not really well understood when we said we wanted to have a smaller squad. It meant also at the same time a squad that had more balance between the quality of the players. So what has been an effort from the sports direction is really to make the level of the players be more balanced so that we can substitute more the players and not feel that we drop. That was a strong effort that has been done by the sports direction, of course. Regarding the strikers, you remember that now we see Lebo probably in the best moment that he had in Sundowns since he arrived. But there was a lot of inconsistency on him, and there was a lot of uncertainty on him from our part regarding the capacity for him to really be an asset. We are very happy that things are going well and he's becoming possible to line him up and to help the team. It's completely different smile on his face. Peter is a player that we know what we get from him always, that we trust so much. And Ikram is a player that was so important last season and needs to find the consistency that is important to get the space that obviously he can have and he had. But we understood that there was something more that we wanted in terms of also looking forward for the future. There was obviously hard work from the group of that he is, and mostly to try to understand if the energy on coming to South Africa would be the proper one, so that we could receive him with open arms, and at the same time he would be open arms also for us. So yesterday I spoke about that. It's Sundowns is indeed a nice environment to welcome people. I felt that myself. Nuno and Miguel felt that also in the very beginning, and Brian felt the same. So that also helped, of course, for him to settle down. and even the competition for the post is very healthy. That we want to sekukune in the last 10 minutes, but the job was done by players that entered since the beginning till the end. But for example, Peter was decisive on that match by the energy he took in the front, and that's what we expect. Yesterday Lebo entered in the match and he gave such a high energy in the front, trying to press the center backs and the midfielders from behind in terms of negative pressure from Pirates. It's just a moment for them to always believe that there will be something for each, and that's my job also to help on that. So yeah, very good work from the club on welcoming him, on discovering him. Is obviously one of them, where it's included the nutritional aspect, the preparation, but in these kind of moments, mostly the proper approach on the recovery that is done also by the medical department and the physios, the kinesios, the bios, all these people. So it's a huge work. First effort is from us coaches is try to understand where we should not make mistakes, because sometimes coaches want to work and to train and to prepare and to do things, and that's where you start making mistakes. There's no time to train. That's very difficult for us coaches, because we always try to control as much as possible the game by providing training sessions, and because sometimes it's up to us, we want to feel secure on going for a match. And sometimes you don't take that security as much as you would like. But there are other resources that we can use. We use much more, of course, video meetings. We try to follow as much as possible plans that have already been experimented and the players know. And as high is the level of the players, that quick they react and they embrace the plans, because they can do it sometimes by a simple thing. And also the coaches must be so open-minded that sometimes he needs to discuss even the players how to approach certain details. I can tell you that we had a discussion in the preparation for the Pirates match, a talk with Mudau and Moreno on how to operate on that right side, considering the expectations that we had that Otto would be very high, creating an overload and then aggression on width, that side. And I made the proposal, and then they said, "Coach, maybe we can do that way." And I said, "What is the most comfortable for you?" "That one, let's go." And so there's a lot of things that are important to be addressed. But it's obviously the recovery process becomes decisive on these moments. The recovery and not only, and the preparation of the players that are not playing in a certain match. For example, if we're going to change a few players on the next match or in the following one, those players also need to be in conditions to perform. But they probably didn't play the last match. So there's something we need to do in order to systematically have the players on condition. What is sometimes not easy, because the best stimulus you can have is the game stimulus. That's why people were complaining, why Mali went to play on this team, the coach doesn't like Mali now, he put in him, he took him under. No, we put in Mali because he needs game time. And for Mali, there's still a window there where we can use him to get that condition, and we could not organize a friendly match, so we decided to give him that opportunity so that he could be ready whenever we decide to call him. So there's a lot of things in stake that we need to take in consideration. Science is developing always. There's always a lot of things that every day appear. But yesterday we started preparing the match on the weekend. Immediately, sometimes even on the pitch, you see the players already eating, already drinking, they have already some intake of things that are important to have. And then we also need to address to their professional level so that they go home, they can sleep properly. Sleep is one of the most important things in terms of recovery. Sometimes we want to do a lot of things in Clorcop, but then we don't forget, but clubs forget that what the players do at home is so decisive, mostly the sleep. So we try also to make them aware of the importance of the different moments they have to take in consideration for their preparation to be as good as possible.